Are people getting crazier, or do we just have more access to see the craziness nowadays because of all the technology and YouTube and social media and news outlets? So, a former North Texas teacher admitted to murdering two parents at an Arkansas state park. I want to play his background, talk about his background first, and then we'll get into what happened. And I also want to play a video of the hairstylist who was cutting his hair when he got arrested. Let's check it out.
We are learning more about the local ties to a capital murder suspect in Arkansas. After 4 days on the run, Andrew McGann is now set to make his first court appearance tomorrow. And as Meredith Yeoman shows us, his arrest is now shedding new light on his time as a teacher in Louisville ISD.
First relief, then a revelation for some Louisville ISD parents.
I was shocked.
After the arrest of 28-year-old Andrew McGann.
And parents started sending me links with his mugshot, and it was like, oh my God, Mr. McGann.
McGann taught fourth grade at Donald Elementary in Flower Mound during the 2022-23 school year. Sierra Markham says McGann was her son's homeroom teacher.
And when I pushed for what was going on, he broke down crying and told me that he had seen some things at school that made him uncomfortable, but he didn't want to get anyone in trouble.
But concern, she says, grew as the year went on and recalled a time her son came home visibly disturbed.
When I pushed for details, he told me that him and several other classmates had noticed Mr. McGann just being kind of inappropriate and touchy and paying over attention to several of the girls in the class.
Markham isn't.
I mean, that has to be disturbing for any young child to see. They know something's wrong when they see it. Kids I'm talking about.
Alone. Lindsay Pollock says her son was in the same grade.
Just starting the school year off, when he was in there, we started getting bad vibes that not much education was going on in McGann's classroom.
In a statement, Louisville ISD says McGann was placed on administrative leave in the spring of 2023 following concerns related to classroom management, professional judgment, and student favoritism.
Louisville ISD says its investigation did not find any evidence of an inappropriate relationship with a student, but did find McGann's classroom management and professional judgment was below the district's expectations.
McGann resigned in May 2023, then taught in Oklahoma, where he reportedly left on his own accord to teach in Springdale, Arkansas.
Random event.
Where today officials say McGann admitted
this guy should have never been allowed to teach at another school. We'll get into that in a little bit.
To last weekend's double murder of Clinton and Kristen Brink. The couple stabbed to death during a hike with their 9- and 7-year-old daughters, who were not harmed.
The same ages of our kids that he was around, it's just chilling.
I'm so sad that those two little girls had to go through that traumatic experience and witness that.
Meredith Yeomans, NBC5.
And McGann is scheduled to make his first court appearance again tomorrow. We are learning.
So that court appearance has already happened. And look, it's crazy. This guy should have never been able to go. I just don't understand why he was allowed to go to Oklahoma and teach there when there were these issues with him with being forced to resign, and then these allegations from other students that he was being inappropriate. I don't know. All right, so let's go into more details about him.
Counts of capital murder in this weekend's double homicide in Devil's Den State Park. State police have just announced the arrest of this man, 28-year-old James Andrew McGann of Springdale. He is charged in the killings of Clinton and Kristen Brink, who were stabbed to death in front of their 9- and 7-year-old daughters Saturday as the family hiked through the park. McGann was arrested by state police just before 5 o'clock this afternoon at a hair salon in Springdale. Governor Sanders joined State Police Colonel Mike Hager to announce the arrest during a news conference in Lowell that you saw here on Channel 7. Take a listen.
You commit a violent, senseless act here in our state, our law enforcement will hunt you down and bring you to justice, because that's what the people of Arkansas frankly deserve. That's what they've asked for, and that's what this team has been able to deliver this week.
The collaboration between state police and other local law enforcement agencies, our federal partners, has been second to none. I also want to thank our media partners for helping us distribute important information during these past few days. Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls.
You know, you can't bring the parents back, and that's unfortunate that they that the daughters had to witness what happened, or had to experience that situation. And this story really got to me because I was just thinking about what they were going through in that moment. And these parents are heroes. What the parents did to protect these girls, and you know, the mother taking these girls to safety and then going back to defend her husband, that's incredible stuff. And unfortunately, it didn't work out in her favor, or his favor, the father. And you have to be careful in these parks. I'll talk about that more throughout the video, but this situation right here just is terrifying. I mean, this guy looks like he's out of a horror movie or something. It looks like Michael Myers, like he's put on a Michael Myers mask.
And to the rest of citizens of Arkansas.
Well, an emotional moment for Colonel Mike Hager of Arkansas State Police as they announce that arrest tonight. Channel 7's Daniela DeHogany joins us now. You were working Saturday when this crime happened. You've been up to Devil's Den State Park. Walk us back through what's happened the last couple of days.
Sure, Chris. Well, it all started as a simple family hike at Devil's Den State Park, but by the end of that trail, Clinton and Kristen Brink were dead, their 2 daughters left behind. Here's a look at how the investigation unfolded from the moment the tragedy happened to the arrest just made today. Saturday, July the 27th, Clinton and Kristen Brink of Prairie Grove were hiking with their 2 young daughters when they were brutally attacked and killed. The children survived. Now, on Sunday, state police identified the couple and confirmed the case as was being investigated as a double homicide. Monday, authorities released a suspect sketch. Tuesday, authorities released surveillance images from the park of the suspect. And Wednesday, 28-year-old James McGann of Springdale was arrested and charged with 2 counts of capital murder. He was taken into custody without incident. The Brinks family says Clinton and Kristen Brink died protecting their girls, and they want justice. Now, some additional info tonight, Chris. There was video from Lupita's Salon and a Facebook video posted by Adriana. Let's take a look at that real quick. It was posted on her Facebook page.
All right, so this is just part of the video, but I want to play the actual hairstylist after this video is done, and what she felt and what she saw when he walked in, and how she felt during how he was acting during the haircut.
She was apparently in the process of cutting McGann's hair. She saved the pieces of hair from him, gave it to authorities. They're picking it up right there now outside.
Okay, let me stop you for a second. So this was the video from outside. This is what we believe was the car that was widely reported in the aftermath of this killing. Investigators said that a car was spotted leaving Devil's Den State Park, a black Mazda with tape over its license plate, and we believe this may be that suspect car, Danielle.
We believe that is the one, the 4-door Mazda black, as you can see right out there. Now, we also do believe that he was about to start a school year at a school. We don't know which school yet. He is from Oklahoma. Just moved here recently.
McGann. Okay, you spent yesterday up in the Devil's Den State Park area and into Fayetteville. This is a very popular spot for people in that part of our state, a beautiful state park. What was the feeling among people up there as long as they knew that a killer was still on the loose?
Well, Chris, I have hiked that park myself several times, more than I can count. And it was packed with people when I used to go hiking there. It was packed on the weekends. It was when the weather was good. Yesterday, when we were there, empty. You could hear all the birds chirping. You could hear crickets. You could hear the water rushing. Silent. Radio silent. No one was on the trails. The trails are cut off to the public as of right now. I believe they're still going to be cut off for a limited time, but quiet. And when we went up to the campus, talked to some students that frequently hike there as well, they're scared. They're scared to go there. Their parents warning them, please don't go out there until it's safe.
Well, they'll feel a lot better tonight knowing that an arrest has been made. Again, 28-year-old James Andrew McGann under arrest in the Devil's Den killing. During that news conference tonight, investigators really declined to talk about the details of what may have happened in the park, what may have motivated this crime. We do know, though, Daniela, that it happened in front of the little girls that belonged to the Brinks, 9 and 7 years old, but they managed to escape unharmed.
They managed to escape. Now, what we know is that Kristen apparently saw her husband being attacked, took the girls to a car, had them safe there, went back to help her husband. Then she herself was also murdered.
And then it was the girls who went for help, and they came back and found those bodies. Again, we're looking forward to hearing more details about exactly what led to this arrest. But the breaking news tonight, 28-year-old James Andrew McGann of Springdale is in custody and charged with the Brinks killing in Devil's Den State Park. We'll continue working this story and have the very...
Just a monster. Now, there have been updates since, and I heard that there was somebody who saw the kids, saw the girls, and they took them to the ranger, or they took them to somebody, employees of the park, and they, directed people, the authorities to the bodies, unfortunately. And that's a scary situation because these parks, I don't go to these places like this. I don't do a lot of hiking or walk a lot of these trails. I just don't. But I know that there are spots where nobody can see you or hear you, and it's kind of a dead zone. Apparently, this area where he killed them is bad cell phone service. And I was watching another video, and a lot of women there was a comment, somebody showed in the comment section on Facebook on a video on YouTube I was watching, and there are women saying that they matched with him on Tinder or Hinge, and they showed his Hinge profile, and he looked completely deranged. And just imagine going on a date with this guy. And he also was asking on his profile, he likes suggestions for good walking trails. And that's what's scary, is that, and that's where these murders happen. He committed these murders on a walking trail, and he was asking in the profile, he wants suggestions for good trails. It's very eerie, very scary. And I was reading, I like reading comments on videos, so that's why I talk about it a lot. But there are people in these videos saying that they were on trails themselves before, and they've seen people, they've been spooked by people themselves who looked pretty deranged and gave them a death stare, and they found out that there was a murder in one of those parks where they saw somebody who looked crazy, who looked very out of place. There were a lot of robberies that happened in homes nearby, and one couple on this trail recognized him after, when his picture was posted, his mugshot was posted, that was definitely the guy they saw on the trail who walked past them. And he looked at them very scary, very creepy look, looked them up and down, gave them a death stare. And he said he looked very out of place by the way he was dressed. And then once they saw him, they said, oh, that was the guy we saw. And just your instincts will tell you certain things like that. And this is why I carry to a lot of places. This is why not only just, a firearm, but if I can't carry a firearm, it doesn't make sense for me to do so. Like from walking at night or something, and I have these shorts on, I don't want to carry this big piece of metal on my shorts and my pants fall down. But, it's good to carry something like some kind of pepper spray, some sort of weapon with you to be able to fend off an attack. Also, you have to stay in shape physically to be able to protect yourself. Take some lessons, self-defense lessons. Stay in shape so you have great stamina and your great agility to possibly have to fight somebody off or run away. Now, I don't know what exactly happened in this situation, how it played out. If he came from behind, he came from front, and if he was going after the girls, he wanted to get to the parents first. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered, like the exact motive of this. Was he targeting these young girls? Because we know he's a freaking creep. It's scary stuff. And I can go on about this all day. This tragic situation here. Let me move this real quick. But it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying what happened. And you just have to be careful out there because you never know who you're going to come across, who's having what kind of day, and what their agenda is. People are crazy. It's scary. No wonder why there are people who moved to Japan and never come back because there's virtually no crime that happens there. I mean, violence is almost non-existent in Japan. You know, things happen, I'm sure, but it's a very, very, very safe country to live in. And you see things like this, it's like, man, this is crazy. But I will play this next one with the Salon saying how he looked soulless.
All day at work. I was going into the break room to heat up my food. The door to the outside is open, so I just noticed, a black car pulled up. We have many clients that come in and out, so I'm like, okay, it's a client. I came back upstairs, and I believe my aunt, who's also a coworker, asked him, to sign his name, and he just looked at her and she felt like, something kind of didn't feel right, but she didn't think anything of it. So I'm like, hey, I can go ahead and sit you in my chair. I can cut your hair. And that's when we started talking about how he wanted his hair cut.
And he wanted to, it's my understanding, I watched one of your interviews, that he wanted the hair to be still in the front, his eyes covered.
Right, yes. He asked, initially he asked for a high fade, and I explained to him, this is what a high fade looks like. It's going to look like this since you want nothing cut from the top. He's like, I don't want anything cut from the top. I'm like, okay, this is how it'll look like. And then I showed him a picture, and he's like, no, that's not what I want. And so I showed him other reference pictures of haircuts, and we ultimately were going for a mid fade.
Okay. Well, Alejandra, did authorities tell you what he was accused of doing? We don't see the cops storming in this shot, but, you guys must have been, just wondering what was going on. Did they say?
Well, it was a scary situation. I had gotten out for lunch, so my sister was keeping me on the loop. Once detectives showed up, we didn't know really who they were, but once whose black car was parked out front, apparently they had been tracking it from several tips that have been going on before this. And so it was just overwhelming whenever they stood the client up from the chair and decided to ask him questions, and then they started taking evidence. So it was just, you don't see that every day. You don't think it could happen at your establishment. And knowing that he did this just out of a soulless act with no motive, apparently, it's scary to think that anything could have happened. So it is a little bit of a stressful situation. I am glad things didn't go differently, especially for my sister who was cutting his hair. But it was within conversation, they did mention that it was possibly related to the double homicide that happened at Devil's Den, which is what confirmed with us.
Adriana, I mean, you must now, looking back, you know that this guy had a knife on him before. I would imagine that you're thinking, oh my gosh, what if he had a knife on him here, or if he grabbed my scissors? What was he like? Had you ever cut his hair before? Were you getting a sense of danger, or it was just odd? Did you know him?
I did not know him. I've never seen him go into the salon. As soon as I saw him, as I was telling him to come into my chair, I had an eerie feeling about him. One thing I did notice as he was walking towards this way was his eyes. They were very sunken. Honestly, like I said before, he looked soulless. He didn't look right. As I was examining his hair, his scalp looked very dry and matted.
Interesting. Did he seem surprised that the cops were there for him, or because we've now heard the police have said that he has admitted to it, that he said, yes, I did this. Did he seem surprised when they got there?
So I believe it was a detective. I don't remember his name. He came in, asked, whose car that was. And, he had his head down the whole time. And he really didn't, say anything until they're like, I believe it's your car. And I guess that's when he said yes. And
It's just crazy to think how this woman was cutting his hair. And she was cutting a killer's hair. I wonder how she felt after that, like what she's going through, what she's been going through since then. I saw another video where she said she stayed up all night. She was crying after this happened, after the arrest happened, because she kept thinking about the family and what the kids had to go through. And I remember hearing that when I was getting my haircut, this was a couple of years ago, and there was a woman who comes in there who's friends with the guy who cuts my hair, and she said there was a guy who came in and she felt very funny about him, who was sitting there. She felt very funny. Something just seemed really off about him. And then a week later, he was accused of killing his ex-girlfriend or something like that. Just crazy stuff.
they asked him, I'm going to need you to get up from the chair. We're going to have to ask you some questions.
Wow. How does it feel knowing that you had a suspected killer in your chair? I mean, you must be like taking a deep breath, and it's so upsetting.
Oh, yes, it's super upsetting. It does take a toll on someone. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm saddened because 2 little girls lost their parents, and it's sad by a soulless act by Andrew. It's unimaginable.
It certainly is, and I'm just so glad that you and your sister and your family are okay. Adriana and Alejandra, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you sharing your stories with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for one of the most horrific stories I've reported on. And look, there are some people. Look, there are people who are saying things like, "Oh, it's not an illegal alien." Look, like, of course, Americans commit crimes too. Americans commit crimes too, obviously. So I don't know why they have to politicize. People have to politicize this and, oh, look at that, an American killed somebody. We know Americans kill people. We know Americans are that we have a segment of the population who are total psychopaths, sociopaths, who are just complete nut jobs. We have a lot of psychos in this nation who are illegal or not. So there have been so many stories like the past week or so that I've heard about. We had the New York situation, the mass shooting in New York, the shooting in Montana that happened just yesterday. What else happened? There was the stabbing in Michigan. And I feel like there's something else I'm missing. There were 4. Oh, and Reno, Nevada, the shooting at the casino. I mean, people have lost their minds, and people have always been crazy. Don't get me wrong, but there are certain points in time when you feel like you're seeing a lot of things happen at once, and this happened to be one of those weeks, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, and do you feel safe going on these trails? Do you carry things to protect yourself? And I think everybody should. I think you should protect yourself at home. Lock your doors, have extra voltage, whatever. Alarms, cameras, Second Amendment, support the Second Amendment to protect yourself. But when you're out in public, you have to worry about crazies even more so. So yeah, let me know what you think about this horrific, tragic situation. These 2 young girls losing their parents, and these parents were heroes, doing what they can to protect their kids, with the father trying to fight off this guy. and the wife taking the daughter. That's just incredible to me. She took them to safety and then came back for her husband. She was really looking at her family that day, and she put herself out there, and I don't know. This story really got to me. I've been watching so many videos about this because I'm really interested in what's going on, and this one hurt. This one hurt. So, yeah, I'll leave that right there. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Take care.